open this gate.
So, Thor, thanks for having us here.
And thanks for inviting me to be a guest. It was kind of weird that someone wanted me to be a guest because I don't think I'm that interesting, but I'm happy to be here.
You know, that's the problem, that we usually don't think that we are interesting.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I did this podcast, because I thought I'm not so interesting, but I like to talk, and I could be talking to so many interesting people. You know? So I think we are not interesting for ourselves.
No,
that doesn't mean that we are not interesting.
Yeah. You're probably right about that. Yeah, I mean, I also started my podcast for the same reason. I figured I like to talk to people that I can learn from. You know, I've kind of adopted this mentality that everyone I meet can teach me something. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So talking to people and being able to pluck their brains, kind of, and ask them about their experiences and their expertise is really good for me, because I learn a lot. And if some people are listening that also learn a lot, that's also very good. You know what I mean?
It's becoming some kind of, I don't want to say, like a possibility to improve, to learn through podcasts, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that podcast is the same like a book, because look, when a guy writes a book on a topic he was studying for 20 years, whatever. So you can have this concentrat from his 20 years work in 8 hours, 10 hours book, you know? And the same here with podcast, you can have some kind of idea of a guy's or girl's, whatever, life or his philosophy to life in just few hours. I mean, you're not getting everything, but you can touch the surface, right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And that's I think that's the main reason we are here. I mean, in the first place, right?
Yeah.
And every motivation gets behind. I mean, first you need to start to do something. As I said, you just started, right?
Yeah.
And you are now probably most famous Icelander in a Danish podcast world. Can I say that?
Probably. I think I'm the only one, so you're probably right. I don't know of any other Icelanders that are doing podcasts in Denmark or in Danish. So yeah, probably, yeah. I'm gonna put that on my CV, man. I'm the most famous Icelandic podcaster in Denmark. That sounds very nice, but I'm not.
Sounds big, right?
Yeah, but I'm not that famous though. I think. I don't know.
But it's always how you position yourself, and sometimes people, I would say, they would need to communicate themselves better to the outside world.
Yeah,
I'm a marketing guy, so I kind of know what I'm saying. I worked whole my life in sales. I still do that, export mainly, and I fucking love it. It's really great. It's just also the things that I did this podcast. I thought, I'm meeting so many interesting people in my life, and I feel like I never have enough time to talk to them.
Yeah, I know that.
And then I thought, maybe if because I started to think theoretically, right? Maybe if I could do it with people I know, so maybe it could give me possibilities to talk to people I would never meet else, just because of the podcast. And actually, when we are talking a little bit about languages, that's why English. Because it's most universal, not just for your listeners, but also for people to talk with. I can talk now for people from Lithuania, from Denmark, Iceland, US, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It kind of expands your not only your listener base, but also the potential pool of guests.
Yes.
Yeah, I've had one in English on my channel. I talked to Eagle McMahon. He's like a really, really famous disc golfer. He's like top 3 in the world. He's really good, and he's only like 22, I think, and has been through a lot. And he also does a lot of ice baths and breathing exercises and stuff like that. So we didn't actually talk about disc golf. We just talked about the mentality of being an elite athlete and having to manage your nerves and keep calm during pressure situations and stuff like that.
That's interesting. I mean, one of the themes I'm interested. One day or evening or night, maybe more to say, I was sitting on my phone and trying to do the notes with keywords what I would like to talk in my podcast. and I went up to almost 100. So,
Yeah.
man, I have so much things I'm interested in. I probably will not have enough my life to cover it. And podcast is, I hope it will help me to cover more of my curious interests.
Yeah, and explore them. I mean, I have the same problem. I mean, life is just so exciting. There are so many things I want to do and I want to try. And I mean, I'm basically open to trying everything once, you know. And when I say everything, I of course
not everything.
Yeah, but you know what I mean, like all
many
the,
things. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna kill somebody, you know, or something like that. But you know, I'm up for exploring life, and it's just like you're saying, it's you don't really think you can touch on all those things, but doing a podcast, you can really gather a lot of knowledge and maybe meet some people that can take you on an adventure. I mean, I've had some people on my show that, you know, I've talked about this ice bathing and this stuff I do, and they have been interested. And then, you know, I've been invited them with me to bathe in the sea when it's you know, around 0 degrees, and it's like you kind of have to meet people to get pushed into those situations, because you're not always going to take you know, you're not always going to do it yourself. It's very nice for sometimes for someone to be there to hold your hand and teach you how to do this, you know?
Exactly. It's very important to be guided, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and look now, the best example, right? I was listening one Danish podcast, Forbudte Skole.
Yeah.
How
Yeah,
say
Alexander,
in English?
then Forbudte Skole, yeah, the Forbidden School.
Forbidden
because-
School.
yeah.
Okay, that's easiest. And I heard you on this podcast,
Yeah.
and you know, since I am trying now to do a podcast, I thought, I will just. I was also listening to some of your podcasts. I said, I will just write to these guys, and maybe they want to talk to me.
Yeah.
You know, and if I wouldn't have podcast, I wouldn't come to this idea that I can write to these guys and try to talk to them. You know.
Yeah.
So that gave me possibility, to meet you today.
Yeah, it's also hard to find
So-
guests, right? I mean, you have to find people somewhere, and podcasts are a good way to do it. I mean, if I hadn't been on his show, then you wouldn't have known who I was.
Exactly.
You know, so
exactly.
so because
So that's why I thought, you know, if I found Thor on Forbudte Skole, so maybe I should have few podcasts in my new podcast, and you know, should work some kind of network also.
Yeah, that's also a good thing, because, like, I mean, being on each other's podcast, like for me and Alexander, the guy who has the Forbidden School podcast, I mean, I can see that, you know, we put the episode, we kind of did like a podcast. So he was my guest and I was his at the same time. So we put the shows out on both channels, actually.
But it was the same podcast you put it?
Yeah.
No, okay.
So, yeah, so we kind of did like a you know, like a kind of a mixed show, you know what I mean?
in 1 hour,
Yeah, so I
two episodes.
Yeah,
right?
so I got to all
Okay.
his listeners and he got to all mine, because like a lot of people, they have this idea that we're all competing against each other.
No,
But
I don't think so.
yeah, but a lot
At
of
least
people,
I don't see that.
no, but a lot of people do, and I, from my perspective, it's more like, if I can help you, great, you know. And I don't actually want anything back. I mean, I'm just glad to help other people, you know, realize their dreams or get to their goals, because I just kind of feel like it's the right thing to do. You know what I mean?
Probably, you know, as I said, this episode we will put as a pilot one.
Yeah.
Just because I think it makes more sense to start with a podcast with a podcaster. You know? It's just more fun. But so far, as I said, we did for Buffer 6 episodes. So it's a 7th one. And you know, now with so many you also were in a place where you've been with 6 episodes, right?
Yeah.
And probably you understand how it feels to go after the guests and what to talk, you know, and where and with.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not so easy in the beginning, right?
It's definitely not, and I there's a lot of things I mean, I did a lot of research before I got started, and kind of like, I just kind of Googled how to start a podcast and what to be. Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of things that I read that I used, but one of the things I wished I've done is I wish I had more episodes when I started, because I kind of recorded 3 and I was like very anxious, like, if I can't get this out now, man, you know.
But
and then I put them out.
What would you say? how many episodes?
I
should
don't know,
one have?
man. I mean, if you have 6, 7, that's a very good start.
So you think it's good enough?
Yeah,
I mean,
I think so. I mean, it kind of depends on how many guests you have booked and all those kinds of things, and also how many episodes you aim to put out. Because my aim was to put out one a week.
yeah, we have the same.
That's
one
a
a week.
lot of work.
Every Thursday we will try, because my research says that Thursday is kind of best day to put new episode, because
Okay.
people are watching, because we start with YouTube, and then after, as I said, after one season we will move to maybe Spotify and so on.
Yeah.
But for YouTube, it's the kind of best days, Thursday, Friday, to upload, because people are watching on weekends.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so I mean, there's a
It depends maybe what you are talking about and so on.
yeah, and
I mean,
I don't know. I mean, it also depends on how big your listener base is, because, like, for example, if you take some of the really big ones, the biggest one is Joe Rogan, probably.
Not probably.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and he does one, sometimes 2 every day. You know what I mean? So if you already have a lot of followers, then it doesn't really matter when you put it out. But in the beginning,
sure,
you have to
they
be
are just listening you. I mean,
yeah, but you have to be strategic in the beginning, I think.
I think so too.
So that's actually a good thing that because I kind of just went with Sundays, because Sunday mornings was the time where I had time to do some editing, before the family woke up. So it's just kind of
Okay.
I mean, I edited Sunday morning and then I just put it out. So I didn't really think about it that much.
It's about this being strategic, yes, but being, I would say, constant.
Yeah.
Like, if you say I will put one a week,
Yeah.
and that means you don't need any motivation, you don't need nothing. You just need to put one a week.
Yeah.
I mean, how hard is that? It could be hard, because I've thought so much about before it all started,
Yeah.
because when you don't have any knowledge, any equipment, nothing, you just and we did very first episode, which will be second episode
Yeah.
when we release it, in a basement with microphone hanging from the ceiling, and it
Yeah.
was crazy, but you need to understand that it will not be forever like that.
Yeah.
I mean, every episode so far was better,
Yeah.
technically.
Yeah.
Also, quality, I think, is kind of getting better, because you're getting more used to how to speak, what to speak. When I had looked at the very first episode, what we did,
Mm.
and myself, I thought like, fuck, man, this guy don't know how to talk. And I thought always I know how to talk. I mean,
Yeah.
I have so much to learn.
Yeah.
Also improve my English skills, right?
Yeah.
I should.
Yeah.
But maybe it will come. I hope it will come. I will.
Definitely. I mean, the more you do something, the better you'll be at it. I mean, I have this one-liner from a song that I always have in my mind. It goes like, "I've got a lot to teach, but even more to learn." You know what I mean? So, I mean, if the day you stop learning and evolving, is the day you'll become irrelevant and
the day you
boring.
die, I
Yeah,
think.
exactly. I mean, you're always
mentally die, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're always learning something new and new skills and just communication skills. That's also a skill. People don't realize that. People think I have to be able to do something with my hands or on the computer, but just being able to sit across from someone and talking is actually
it's a very hard job, right?
Yeah, it is, and it's getting kind of a lot like a lost art, because a lot of people are on their on the computers all the time. You're talking through email or Messenger or some shit like that. You know what I mean? And these young kids that grow up talking to all their friends through Snapchat and stuff like that. I mean, they're losing a lot of these communication skills, because you have to be able to read, body language and all this kind of stuff. And you can't sense the tone when you're reading text. That's not possible.
Yeah, I mean, I am for different communications.
Yeah,
Reading
definitely.
books,
Yeah.
hearing books, hearing podcasts. I mean, social media. Everything is fine, but you just we are losing it a little bit with personal contact.
Yeah.
First, and I thought after we did first episode, I never had this kind of talk in my life.
Yeah.
Because we are always like, you're doing here something. Even if you are in a business meeting, you are on a computer something, you are explaining something. But it's hard to say. I never had this face-to-face talk
Yeah.
for 1 hour, 1.5 hour, 2
Yeah.
hours, whatever.
Yeah, and
It's not so easy.
No, it's definitely
as it
not,
looks
and
like.
especially not if you're doing like a podcast. I mean, of course, we're doing with video now on YouTube, but my podcast is not with video.
Mhm.
So 3 seconds of silence. I'll give the listeners an example. Like, let's just be silent now for. That's a fucking long time, and that was 3 seconds. You know what I mean? So you have to be able to keep talking all the time, and the thing is, for me, I mean, I get really tired, mentally tired after a podcast when I'm the host, because I have to, be sure that the conversation doesn't die. So when you're talking, when you're saying something, I'm trying to listen, but I'm also doing like, how do I respond? What do I respond to? Like, what am I going to say next? Because the dead air it's I mean, 3 to 5 seconds is a really long time when you're just listening. It's enough that people are going to check their phone like something's wrong, So it's it's hard work, but it's very fun.
Very hard work.
Yeah.
I mean, I was also surprised, because as you said, one thing is in a normal life, again, even if you are working, like, again, business meeting or talking to your friends, it's just, you are kind of, I don't want to say you're always bullshitting, but you're just talking, you are not thinking too much in front, what to say, what to ask, and here when you sit and you have 1 hour, 2 hours, and you want to cover these topics. I mean, I'm going, every podcast I did until now, I'm going through this podcast before the podcast. I'm starting to imagine trying to think what we will talk and what kind of, and it drives me a little bit crazy, but okay. And when you are kind of living in a moment when you trying to talk, and sometimes, as you say, you maybe can lose something, because when I watch them afterwards, I say, oh man, I should maybe listen to this more. Or
I shouldn't have. I should have commented on this thing he said or something.
Exactly.
But in real time, it's difficult. I mean, I do like you. I mean, I write out a plan. I mean, I know who I'm.
Are you writing it?
Some of it. I mean, I research my guests, and then I just kind of figure, okay, they are doing this and this and this, and then I write some bullet points. If I'm talking to I don't know, some.
But you are not having them in front of you.
No. I have like a little cheat sheet just in case. I mean, I do like a plan with some bullet points, some talking points. If I know I'm talking to someone who does breath work or who's a elite athlete, CrossFitter or whatever, I have these points that I can fall back on if the conversation dries out. If there's a silence, I can, like, all right, I'm gonna pull this up.
Okay.
Because if you have a rigid plan and you're just kind of going through the motions, it becomes very interview-like, which is fine if you're doing an interview. But if you're doing a talk, if we are both just having a conversation, you have to be able to deviate from the plan you made. So I make a plan and then I throw it out, and then I can kind of like if the talk isn't going that great, I know, like, I have this and this and this topic I can kind of pull into the conversation.
Okay.
Because if you have 10 things you want to talk about, then if you say something interesting that's not on my list, then I'm gonna keep pulling it back to the list, and then I'm gonna miss a lot of golden opportunities to expand on some exciting stuff you said.
Supposed to be as natural as it can be.
Exactly. I mean, it's a conversation. So, but
that's why actually we had this idea, to use these podcast microphones.
Yeah.
I mean, we are using now just because you have it, and it's interesting to try, first time how it and this and that. But we are trying to do it as natural as it can be, because you cannot see these lamps or microphones or nothing when we are doing. So it's even doesn't look like a podcast. But my main idea, why I'm trying to not have some kind of structure, and I had feedbacks and comments that your talks are kind of unstructured, but that's the main idea. In a real life, you're not talking in a list.
You're not doing a question answer interview.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's the style I just don't like. I mean, I'm okay with if someone is doing interview style, even podcast, I'm fine. But I just don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, I listen to a guy called Tim Ferriss. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, he does this kind of. He's a bit more of an interview guy. I mean, he has some
he's
questions.
very
and stuff.
structured.
Yeah, exactly. He's very structured, and he has really interesting people on. And sometimes I kind of feel like the guest, answers something, and they've said something really exciting, and I'm like, there's a golden opportunity to expand on that, and then.
But it's
Tim
not on the
just
list.
yeah, but he kind of moves on to the next question, and I'm like, dude, come on, we need to hear more about this,
Yeah.
So it's, yeah, I mean it's good both ways, but personally I like the conversation, like the Joe Rogan kind of style thing better.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
to say.
yeah,
This just just sit and talk, and I have these bullet points in my mind what I want to ask.
yeah,
If I will forget one or two, who cares? We can meet one more time and
Yeah.
have again. But if I would go on the list, and as I say, to miss this golden opportunity, that would be so sad.
yeah,
And if I don't know what to ask or what to talk, sometimes you just come to the wall, kinda, like, okay. So I just ask random question,
yeah,
something, and then you will say, oh, this and that, and then maybe I will just catch for something,
yeah.
and then it pops again a bullet point, and then we can slowly come back to that. It's some kind of art, I would say.
It is. I mean, doing. There's a reason that you can take a college degree in communications. I mean, it is an art, and some people are very good at communicating and talking, and other people are just not. But I believe it's something you can train.
Like so many things.
Like everything. I mean, the more you practice, the better you'll get. Maybe you'll there's also a lot of introverts, people that really don't like, they can get good at this kind of thing. They get tired afterwards, but they can actually train themselves to be really good. I mean, I used to be very extroverted. Like something had to happen all the time. I played drums in a metal band, and I was doing a million things, and I thrived when there was a lot of people around me. I didn't really actually, like, when I look back, it was when I was a little bit younger, I didn't know how to be alone. When I got alone, I was anxious. I was like, why is nothing happening? I have to meet someone. I have to do something. I have to go out.
I have this problem.
Yeah.
I had for a long time.
Yeah, but it kind of switched for me, and I'm not really sure why or when, but it kind of switched, and now I really, really enjoy being alone, and being around a lot of people is all of a sudden actually not that easy for me anymore. So I forgot where I was going with it, but doing a podcast and I get really tired afterwards, and I think maybe it's probably because, like I said before, your brain is on overdrive.
Brain uses a lot of energy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, also brain is using a lot of calories.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
and I'm also not used to being the front man. I was a drummer, so I was I could always hide behind the drums and just play.
Okay.
The front man always has to stand and talk and get the crowd going. So going from drumming to podcasting. I mean, now all of a sudden it's me that's supposed to be the one who talks and stuff like that. And it definitely took some training, or not training but practice.
But like everything, no one of us, even Joe Rogan, was not born to talk. I mean, at some point he learned how to talk, right?
Yeah.
Being a kid, and that just shows it's practice. You're just talking more and more and more. And of course, there are people who are willing to talk. There are people who are not willing to talk so much.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are very willing to talk and can't shut up, that probably just should,
I know. I should sometimes to shut up and listen. And one of the first things what I realized trying to do podcast, that I have this bad thing to break people, when they are talking.
Yeah.
That is something I also should learn how to more listen. And this podcast gives me also that. I mean, I'm training myself into listening what these people who are talking with me, what do they want to say?
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's the whole podcast point, right?
Yeah. I mean, it definitely is. Doing podcasts is for me also a very self-developmental kind of thing. You know, I'm developing myself because I read this quote once by someone, I don't remember who, but it was something like, some people listen and some people listen only to respond. And when you're doing doing podcasts, you kind of have to do both. Right now I'm working with dying people, for example. I do that now, for a living.
Okay, what that was one of my questions. What are you doing for?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in construction, basically all my life, or my working life, and now I switched because my back is kind of fucked up. I have arthritis. I have like a very rare autoimmune disease thing, where my what's it called, immune system is attacking my back, and my SI joints are fusing together. It's a whole mess. But so I kind of switched over to I'm now studying to be a registered nurse, and I'm at the moment I'm working with dying people, and I mean I have a couple of them that I visit every day, and I'm kind of helping them. I'm basically making them comfortable, helping them take a bath, and giving them some medicine and stuff like that, and just being there and talking to them and holding their hand if they need it, or a cold cloth on the.
It's like home service, or
yeah, it's in their own home, right? And the thing there is like I want to ask so many questions because I'm so interested in the process of dying, but it's a real art just to be able to sitting there and listen to what they say and not responding. Because when I don't respond, there's going to be like a little break where there's a few seconds where no one says anything, and I just kind of sit and I'm still listening, and then they will just keep talking, and they will keep talking, and they will tell me all kinds of stuff, histories about their life and their thoughts about death and how they're getting to grips with dying and all this stuff. And it's just like, if I always responded when there was silence in those situations, they wouldn't, say all the things they need to say. And in these situations, I mean, this is completely different from podcasting, obviously, but it's so important for me that they get to say what they have to say. And if I feel like I want to say this, it's not about me, it's about them. You know what I mean?
I know, but I have one bad thing which I developed kinda in sales for so many years, to give them or him, when you talk with someone, some kind of signal that you are still listening and you are interested. So I kind of do it naturally with okay, yeah. And when you talk, I it's very hard for me to not to do that. I always kind of unconsciously trying to inform you that I'm listening to you. And for the podcast, it's not a good thing. Also with the dying people, it would be not the best thing, because you feel kind of interrupted. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I haven't actually thought about that, but because, I obviously respond when they tell me something. I say, oh yeah, or something. But the main thing is like also facial expressions. I mean, I look in their eyes and they kind of look away, and then they say something, and then they usually look at me. And then I smile, or I nod, or I do something with my body to kind of like, I'm here, I'm listening.
That's why I was interested so much in video.
Yeah.
Because, video is not just the best opportunity for marketing, as we talked, when you get, for example, for a podcast, it's very hard to go viral just with audio.
I mean, that's not impossible. Almost.
Very hard.
Yeah.
But video,
yeah,
another thing.
Yeah, you can do small snippets,
Yeah, but that's why I also think that video format gives you, as a viewer, as a listener, this opportunity to see these expressions on a face and how they were talking and this and that.
Yeah.
If you want. I mean, it's many podcasts I'm just listening, or some podcasts I'm like half watching, half listening.
Yeah. But it's very nice to have both. I mean, I like I told you before we started, I mean, when I was working as a construction guy, I was doing technical insulation, and I was, so used to doing it that I didn't really have to think about what I was doing. It's kind of just like muscle memory. The arms
Did
just
you do
move.
it with pipes or?
Yeah,
I tried also.
Yeah, ventilation for the most part.
I tried also.
And then I just it was nice to just have it in the ears, because then you kind of feel like you have some company, you know.
It's a very hard job, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
It's not easy.
No, it's not easy. No, I mean, there's a lot of bad positions you stand in. It's not very good for the back. You also have to, you're on some lift and then you're standing above some ceiling and you have to kind of stand like this and reach out and do something, and it's horrible for the back, especially. But I mean, I've also done, groundwork when I was, working with concrete and steel and stuff like that. And that is heavy shit, man. But I mean, yeah. That's also why I switched, because my body can't handle it. I mean, I can handle it now still if I want to, but I'm not going to be able to last for 20 years.
How long? But when I'm trying to think about different works, I'm not saying that this work is good, this is bad, or something, but I always think that one should aim to express themselves best.
Yeah.
I mean, if you feel like the best in life you can do is working in construction, and you feel like you see the point to helping people to build their houses and to make their life better and easier, go for it.
Yeah.
If you feel like you want to do this or that, go for it. Just, you need to find the meaning for everything you are doing.
Yeah. It's like Wim Hof said, feeling is understanding. I mean, if it feels right, then do it.
Probably.
I mean, I love building stuff. I built this studio, and I like doing stuff with my hands, and I actually kind of miss construction in a lot of ways, especially the environment, this raw kind of, you're kind of dirty, and it's very nice, because I don't like wearing, clean clothes almost. You know what I mean?
Okay. No, I don't.
Of course I do, but like if I'm wearing my work clothes, it's just it gives me kind of a freedom to just be like get my hands dirty, and it's like, I think it's probably like some kind of primitive thing, like when people go hunting for the first time, or they say like, "Ooh, this is," because it's in us, and being dirty and building
deep
and
in the DNA.
Exactly, it's in there, and I actually kind of miss it, but I'm building a lot of, on my house and doing stuff at home, so I get
building things. I mean, it depends how you look at it. When I see the end result of the podcast series, I kind of feel proud of it. I mean, I see the mistakes I made. I see the ways to improve technically and qualitative and so on. But you feel kind of proud you did it, It's same when you are building a wall or something. And I saw these pictures on Instagram.
Yeah.
Your studio before, in between, and after.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
And I thought, I will visit this studio one day, and it happened so quickly. And thank you once again.
I mean,
it was really short notice, and we just.
Yeah, I mean, you wrote to me like on Wednesday or something, and now it's Saturday. Yeah.
So I was a bit surprised myself.
Yeah, but it's nice, because my podcast is on summer vacation right now. I'm not doing anything for the whole month of July, and I logged. I do this every year for 1 month. In July, I turn off all my social media. I log off, and then I don't touch them at all. I don't go in and check anything for a whole month.
Impressive.
Yeah. So and I also put the podcast on hold, because like I do a lot of things. I have a lot of balls in the air. I'm trying to juggle, and sometimes it's nice just to have nothing and just go like, I'm not gonna do anything. Exactly. So when you wrote to me, it was like, I'll be down for that, because I mean it's
just one.
Yeah, but also because it's not me doing all the work. I'm just here as a guest,
Yeah, I mean in your studio, but as
but guest, I mean it's you have you had to do all the work with the cameras and lights and everything, and I just kind of had to show up. So today for me is really fun. I mean, it's
sweet to feel it, right?
Yeah,
when you don't need to do anything.
Yeah, it's fun to be on the other side, just kind of being a guest and not the. It takes a lot of the pressure off in a weird way. You know what I mean? Because it's not my responsibility.
No, I don't. I never tried, but
but
but I can imagine.
Yeah, it's not my responsibility to kind of carry the conversation as it is when I'm the host. I kind of feel like, okay, I have to make sure this goes well.
It's actually when I said the point to have you here today just before the release, I thought, man, if he will respond yes, and when you respond yes, fuck yeah, we will do it. The first episode, he's a podcaster. He has a more experience than I do. It will be fucking awesome, to have a pilot.
Oh, that's
episode.
nice. It's also a bit weird that that you're saying that like I have experience and stuff like that, because I still feel new, but I've done 50 episodes and I've done a lot of mistakes and
So-
learned and
Few years, right? I mean,
1 year.
in 1 year?
Yes.
Wow.
1 year and 2 months, right? Almost one every week for a whole year.
Wow.
So it's been a hell of a ride, I must say.
If someone would ask me what is the feeling of making podcast episode, I would say I have at least a feeling like reading and finishing book.
Yeah.
Same. You feel like you are investing your time to reading a book. You feel like you learn something at the end,
Yeah.
and you start to think, how much more can I learn from other books?
Mm-hmm.
And same here. It takes time to make a podcast. It's not easy, but after that you think, fuck man, I learned so much and I had so much good time and so on. And then I think, okay, what can happen after 10 episodes? What can happen after 100 episodes? you know? And that's the part where I am getting so much excited about that.
Yeah.
What can happen in the future, in 1
Yeah.
year, in 2 years, and in 5 years? I don't know. I don't know for how long you will do that. I don't know for how long I will do that. But I really, really hope. And it's a good tool for networking, right? I mean, you can meet people you would never dream to meet.
Yeah.
You
Definitely.
can learn things you would never dream to learn.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, and it's very nice, like you said, for networking. I mean, I've talked to some people where I'm just thinking like, wow, like I can't believe I actually had this conversation, because I've learned a lot.
It's like me now, I still cannot believe I'm sitting in a real studio with a real podcast guy, like what?
yeah. I mean, really,
Thousands of people are just listening you,
Yeah.
and I have an opportunity to talk to you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad you feel that way.
How
because-
fucking insane is that?
Yeah, it's actually funny because like I'm looking around here like at the cameras and stuff, and I'm like, whoa, they have a. I mean, I kind of feel like you have the best setup here. You know what I mean? I have the studio, but you have really nice equipment. Because I really want to do video also. But like we talked about before, I mean, I'm just a one man army. I'm trying to do all of this myself. I do all the sound editing and everything myself, and I have to teach myself how to edit video now also, and syncing the sound and stuff. And I mean, I know I can do it, but it's just like I also have 3 children, and I'm trying to teach yoga, and I'm doing an education.
But,
and
it depends what level, as we talked. What do you want to have?
yeah,
I mean, now we are using so much stuff, and it's not cheap, and it takes time and so on. But if you would like just to have a video podcast, it's probably just, as I said, one camera cropping.
yeah, that's what I'm
And-
gonna do. I'm just gonna have one over there that kind of
And the
like a
good
wide
thing
shot
is
thing.
when you have a studio,
Yeah.
you don't need to do so much work. So you just put few lamps.
Yeah,
It seems like with sound, as you said. In a same studio, you just have this all these preset things, and you just push the button,
Yeah.
and you don't have to edit so much, right?
yeah. Like my microphone, I
with-
never edit because it's always the same. It's always me, and it's the
Yeah,
same sound.
Same with video, When
Yeah.
you will have a lamps, you have a camera in the same place, same adjustments, everything. You just push the cord.
Yeah.
You have same filters. I mean, you can talk to Arius, to
Yeah,
our camera guy. He can explain you. And it's, so far, I understand it should be so much easier to have one camera in a studio.
yeah, yeah. It's
So nothing stands in the way.
You said something that the press record thing. That's a podcaster's worst nightmare, and I've done it once. Like we were doing a podcast.
You forgot to press.
Yeah, we've been talking for like 10 minutes, and I just looked down and I'm like, fuck, I'm not recording. So luckily it was only 10 minutes, right? And we just kind of had a laugh about it, and it was a good icebreaker. But it was just like, if we had talked about, for like 1.5 hours, it would have been a disaster. You know what I mean?
But, you are learning kind of these things as well. I mean, in first episodes we forgot to do that or this or and then one time you said angle like this, one time like this, and I kind of hope that after, let's say, 10 episodes, or in the middle of the season, we are trying to do 25 in a season, 2 seasons in a year. So it will be also 50 in a year in total. And you should be okay with 12, like in the middle of season.
Yeah.
I hope so. Because so many things to remember in these first times, it's here clicked or not.
Yeah, and it's the angle right, and and if you kind of do like
So
this,
much.
you can hear this. You can hear it on the audio,
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things to learn, for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the also kind of nice thing, because you never stop learning. But now we are learning these basics.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of waiting to get at least this famous 80%,
Yeah.
In the beginning, first 80% you learn very quickly, and 20% you can take rest of your life.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of waiting to get these 80%.
Yeah. Getting the basics down.
Technically.
Yeah.
And then I would say we can concentrate more which guests to invite, teams and this and
Yeah.
more interesting stuff, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's my problem right now. Is like I've run out of guests, because like I know all the people I know that I've been able to pull in. I've already pulled them in. So now I'm kind of looking for guests, and it's like it's kind of hard, because you have to. I use a lot of time on the internet, just kind of trying to Google and research people, and then I have to do send them mails and stuff, and I and a lot of them don't answer, especially the more famous people, because they don't know who I am.
I can understand that. I have actually one guy we were talking about famous people to getting on podcast on some projects you are doing, and they are kind of asking directly or indirectly what it is for me. I mean, look, I'm famous.
Yeah, what's in it for me?
Yeah, I have 1 million subscribers, whatever. You have nothing. Well, where is the good deal for me,
Yeah.
And I would say that first you need to build up, like kind of go up with less famous people, and it should build somehow naturally. And I was talking with one guy who's helping with audio for us. Really good DJ. I mean, not kind of music I listen, but I understand he is putting a lot of work to it. And we had this conversation about, as an example, one of the Lithuanian strongmen.
Yeah.
He is Savickas, if you ever heard, maybe. Strongest man in the world.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but I just took him as an example. I said, look, if I would go now to Žydrūnas, his name, Savickas, I would say, do you want to come on my podcast? He probably would say no.
Yeah.
Because, everyone is busy, and he has, I'm sure, his life and training and this and that and business probably and family and so on. Why should he come on a podcast zero, But as I said to the sound guy, I said to his DJ, I said, look, but if I would like to have Savickas on my podcast, and if I would build from one guest like a Danish strongman, and then I would probably get maybe to Danish strongman champion, and I would talk to another strongman, and then I could go to him and say, look, my podcast maybe is not so famous, but I'm really interested in this, and I had on my podcast this one. Maybe it is no business for you to come here, but my auditorium, maybe it's very niche, maybe it's very small, but they are interested in it.
Yeah.
So you just can help for this strongman community. You need always to give a sales point to everyone.
Yeah.
And it's not always money or something.
No, exactly. I mean, and for me, like I don't actually, I don't really go after famous people because I don't really care. I mean, I'm more interested in these everyday heroes. You know what I mean? People that are actually, out there doing something, something cool or something important.
But can I interrupt?
Yeah.
I totally agree with everyday heroes, but I would love to have in my podcast mix of everyday heroes and a few famous people. You know why? Famous people can help you to build a network to spread the word of these everyday heroes.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if you will have just everyday heroes, it's very hard to get people to listen to them.
Yeah, it is.
So you need some kind, I think,
some kind of balance,
to mix little bit famous people, and famous people can be also everyday heroes. I mean, we are usually forgetting that they are just people like you and me.
Yeah,
they are no different.
Yeah, yeah, and it's also like I've had a couple of famous Danish people on, and one of them kind of really famous. He's called Martin Spang Olsen.
Mm-hmm.
His father was an artist, and he and his brother are, stuntmen and have done a lot of movies and all kinds of stuff. And the thing is, like, I kind of expected it was through a mutual friend. I mean, he wrote to me that he was, a friend had recommended my podcast, and I went to his house and we talked for a couple of hours. Really, really good talk. Really interesting guy. Really nice guy.
Nice.
And I kind of expected, all right, this is a really famous person. I mean, this is probably going to get a lot of listens, and it didn't.
Can I ask you how many listeners you usually have, or on average, or
it varies. I'm not actually sure. I mean, some of my podcasts are a couple of thousand, and some of them are maybe around 200. So it kind of depends on who I talk to and the timing probably also. But I can see that I have a steady listener group, and I can see there are people in Hong Kong listening. I have no idea why. If maybe there's a Danish guy there.
Yeah, of course, Danish guy. Of course.
But in Costa
when you are
Rica
doing a podcast in English, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's no wonder that someone in Hong Kong is listening.
Yeah.
But when you are doing it in Danish, it's like, it's a Danish guy.
Yeah, but I did have that one disc golfer on, and he's a global star in the disc golf community, So maybe that's disc golf fans, could be.
Could be.
Yeah, but I mean, and also I know that none of my friends are listening because they're like, I have a couple of friends and my girlfriend and stuff like that, and they're like, yeah, I've listened to a couple of episodes, but it's like they don't want to listen to me all day long, and then they meet me in the nighttime, and it's just like, I've been listening to you all day. Can you shut up?
It's probably you are right. I'm almost sure my wife will not watch my podcast. I mean, she has me at home too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I say, I don't know if someone from my friends will listen it.
Yeah, they'll probably check it out.
Check it out, yes, of course. But I would not count that more than 20% of people I know really good will be the base of watchers or listeners or whatever.
Yeah.
Not more than 10%. I would.
Oh, but the problem is also there's so much content out there. There are so many podcasts, and everyone has a podcast, and it's just, I mean,
but it's good.
It's good, yeah. But it's also hard to get your podcasts out there, because a lot of people they're like, you can cheat the algorithms a little bit. You can pay money for like people do on Instagram. People that
I
have,
know.
I mean, I've seen people that have 50,000 followers. And because I know them a little bit, I'm like, who the hell's following her or him? And then I go and check the follower list, and it's all Russian names and Chinese names. So it's bots, Yeah. And you can do the same with podcasts.
But, I know these things because I'm kind of specialized also, not just in marketing and sales, but also in social media. But I don't want that. I mean...
No, I don't want that either. I would never dream of doing that, you know what I mean?
I prefer 10 listeners or followers, in that case, over 1,000, 10 real, over 1,000
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it gives you nothing.
But the thing is, like, a lot of people they do this because then you'll get on the most played lists on iTunes and Spotify and all this kind of stuff, and that helps you get exposure. I mean, like, I don't do this. I just want to make it clear.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to. I would never. I think it's kind of silly because I'm not playing this social media game.
I'm
I'm not in it to be famous. I have this inner battle with myself, you know, because, like, on one hand, I enjoy doing this, and I have a lot of things I want to tell people and help people do stuff and talk to interesting people. But on the other hand, I like privacy. I don't really want to be. I don't want everyone to know who I am.
Yeah,
so it's kind of like, do I really want to be a public person, or, you know, it's.
But the minute you started podcast, you became a public person.
I know. I'm also writing a book, which I'm gonna put out.
You see?
Yeah. So I mean, it's difficult because, like, you just kind of see these famous people, and it's a lot of attention, man. You say something stupid, and someone films it, or,
has
you know,
its own price.
Yeah, it definitely does. Definitely.
But I think you can be kind of famous and still be the same. Like, you know, with I'm not so good in songs and stars, but there was a song, or is a song, Jennifer Lopez, I think. I'm still Jennifer from the block. You know, you still can be a Thor from the block. You know, if you want to.
Yeah, because
I believe that. I don't know.
I believe that also. I mean, I'd like to believe that if I won the lottery tomorrow and got, like, billion kroner or whatever, that I wouldn't change. I don't think I would. But all people think that, you know what I mean?
But that's the beauty, right? I mean, I have a nice family. I have a nice job. I have a super nice hobby. It's just, you know, more money would make these things a little bit more tasty.
Give you more time.
For the podcast, you could probably buy more gear and stuff which would help you to improve, not just technically, but also save time and this and that. And if I would like to build a studio like you have, it costs money, right? I mean, so you need. I think I was in my life and at that point where I thought I need to have a lot of money, you know, like. But now all I'm thinking is just money is just a tool, you know.
Yeah.
It's just a tool to buy things which will help you to make some good things in life you want. That's it. And sometimes it can be also a good, beautiful car. I mean, if it give you this mental boost to make another things, so why not to buy a Lambo or fucking something else? Why not? I mean,
like, for me, I just kind of, I don't know, money would, having a lot of money would for me, the biggest benefit of having a lot of money would be that I wouldn't have to think about money. That's if I just didn't have to think about finances, I would be so happy, because I fucking hate finances. And having to think about, you know, making a budget and all this kind of stuff. If I could just not think about that would be very nice. You know?
Yeah, I also, we are talking now today from a little bit more podcast perspective, right? And I thought a lot about money and podcasting, you know. If you would have more finances, you could travel to places and talk to people you want. Like, I really have good friends in some different countries, and really interesting people to talk. But, you know, if you would like to travel to them, it takes time, it takes money, it takes this and that. I mean, the absence of money is kind of setting you in some kind of frame. It's framing you.
Yeah, exactly. It puts some. It gives you more freedom to do the stuff you like.
Yeah,
you know?
freedom.
Yeah, definitely. And it's also one of the things I've thought about. You know, trying to get sponsors on the show and something. I haven't really tried at all. I haven't talked to anybody about it or anything. But I've thought about it a little bit, and it's.
Maybe you should.
Yeah, maybe I should. Yeah, that's kind of the next step.
You know, monetizing. I got this question so much. Like, what's the point? Why are you doing this? I mean, you can monetize somehow indirectly, and we have a plan for that. But more directly monetizing it could be, of course, sponsors. Of course, if you would put on YouTube and if you say, let's say you have a few thousand listeners or viewers would be in that case,
Yeah.
you can have a few dollars from YouTube, right?
Yeah.
You can have some, and again, video I think is very important for so many podcasters who are doing just voice. You can sell video so much better than just
Then just the
Okay.
listening. Yeah, for sure.
and you can start, little by little to getting little sponsors, little this, little that, and just to break even, so you don't need to take how we say, you don't need to take from your kid's mouth
Yeah.
to put it on your
On your
kinda
hobby. Yeah.
hobby,
Yeah,
it's
exactly,
a
yeah.
little bit stupid.
Yeah.
So at least my point is to make just so much money it covers.
Yeah. Yeah.
expenses.
To break even. Yeah, that would
Yeah,
be nice.
break
because,
even at
because
the
it is
beginning.
expensive, doing this and also buying all the
Costs
gear.
money,
And,
yeah.
yeah, and also costs time. And you drove here from far away. You drove for like an hour. That's also
Yeah, I
gas
was driving
money.
from
and,
Korsør
Yeah.
to Copenhagen to take him, and now we drove to Roskilde.
yeah, exactly. I mean, all of it costs money, and it's it would be nice
nothing
to
is
break
free.
even. No, nothing's free. But it's also like all hobbies are expensive. I used to play drums, and that costs a lot of money. Also, I mean, just buying a new cymbal, it's like if I buy
It's
the
just
one I
in this
want.
kind of hobby, but again, it's maybe just me. I find a little bit more point in doing podcasting than doing something else. So it's not just a hobby; it's also
You're
at
getting
least
something from it.
but you can get also from driving a bike, or something you can get. But it's some kind of different hobby because I don't know. I'm feeling that I can help the society somehow
Yeah.
by doing that.
Yeah.
How much and how it will go, I don't know. It's just some of my thoughts,
Yeah, and that's also a good thing to to have as a goal. I mean, I also like my podcast is called ThorCast, and then I have like this kind of sub.
I liked the idea of your podcast name.
Yeah.
Because when I thought about my podcast name, I was thinking a lot. I was like, since it is just about me, I mean, my opinion, the people I want to talk, the teams I want to cover, I will call it BormCast. I mean, my second name is Borm, right?
Yeah.
And when I saw a ThorCast, I said, oh, this guy, I like thinking.
But what I did, I added like not a catchphrase, but kind of like it's ThorCast, and then there's like under it says like a toolbox for life or something like that. It's in Danish, right? But that's also because like I'm trying to expand my own toolbox, and I'm trying to give tools to others, like the people listening, like getting some how to deal with life, because there's no manual to life. I'm trying. That's what my book's going to be about. But
we have some kind of manuals. I mean, if you look at the religion, right? I mean, Bible is supposed to be some kind of
the
manual.
10 commandments. Don't
do
steal
that.
and don't
do that.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really, really smart book written in so many years, for so long.
Yeah.
And I was enjoying to watch a few series. It's like 20, I think, from Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
Also on comments on Bible and this and that. And when you see that, you say, yeah, that actually makes sense, this book,
Yeah, but it needs to be updated, because there's a lot of things today that are not in it. The times have changed a lot.
Almost the same.
Yeah, I know.
If you take me and you now, 1,000 years back, or a guy from 1,000 years back today, we are almost the same.
Yeah, but as humans, but the environment has changed. I mean, there's like dealing with stress and burnout for as an example. Is and creating some struggles for yourself. I mean, it's a lot different now than it was back then. You had to.
I always can I give an example? I always give an example with environment and how crazy it is. Like 50 or 60 something years ago, it was a lady, Karen Honey,
Mm.
and she was writing about how crazy or how stressed we are today in her days, like neurotics and so on. And I'm always trying to say, look, Karen, if you would be alive now, what would you say today? Because life got even faster in many senses in these last 50 years.
And you have the burden of 7 billion people on your phone. You know, just reading the news. It's just like it's too much information. We're not wired to deal with everyone's problems.
It's like electricity. You can make warm and light with electricity, and you can make a death chair.
Yeah, electric chair. Yeah.
Same here. All this connectivity what we have today, you can use for propaganda, or you can use for self-development podcasts.
Yeah.
There is nothing good or bad. It's just like how we want to use it.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, for that kind of requires you to be very aware of what's happening, and these algorithms that are behind Facebook and Google and all these things. I mean, you can't win that battle because they know how to trigger your brain and give you that dopamine response every time there's a click or there's a ping or there's a this and that, and that's the kind of thing that, for example, the Bible is missing. I mean, you really should educate kids about this. My children, they got an iPad when they were 6 years old from school. I would never have given them an iPad at that age, but they got it from school, and then all of a sudden I have to deal with it, and I have to kind of teach them what is this thing, and it's hard when you're dealing with children to explain why YouTube is so attracting. I mean, they just want to watch YouTube all the time, and they're watching these videos when I'm thinking like, what the hell is this shit,
Yeah,
but they're designed to keep
algorithm keeps you. I mean,
it keeps
algorithms should suck you and never let you.
Exactly.
Go.
Exactly. And
which is also a good thing. If I'm interested in something, I will get always algorithm will give me just the things I'm interested and just the ads I'm interested.
Yeah.
I mean, so it doesn't gives me bullshit I don't want to see, but on other hand, it makes me too much.
Yeah, you don't
narrow.
expand your exactly. So I mean it's hard,
And societies now, if you can see also in Denmark, I mean, it's polarizing more and more.
Yeah.
Pro-vaccines, anti-vaccines, pro-COVID, anti-COVID, and this and that, left and right, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's getting every year, I think, crazier.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, people are sitting behind their screens and they're writing things to people they don't know online, on the comment sections and stuff like that. And I'm just like, if I was sitting across the table from this person, they would never talk like that. You know what I mean? Some people would, of course.
Probably not. Yeah,
some there are just assholes out there, of course. But most people, they, and now we're kind of getting back to communication. People are losing the skill to communicate. Maybe it also was like that many years ago. I don't know, but
it is communication. Like, look, if someone now is will listen or watch this episode. I mean, when I'm watching some podcasts or when I was listening also yours, as I said, I feel like I know you. It is some kind of communication. It's just
it's one-way communication. One way. Yeah.
But I feel like I know you. I feel like I also got something from themes you were covering, It's very strange communication, but it could help for humanity. It could be helpful.
Yeah, definitely.
But on the other hand, if someone is all day just sitting on a podcast and doing nothing, I mean, you always need to have some kind of mix in your life, right? I mean,
you need to have
some
balance.
Yeah.
I mean, I keep going back to this, to the yin and the yang, I mean, it's like everyone knows this symbol, the black and white symbol with the dot in the middle, and it's kind of a cliche thing, and everyone's yin yang.
But it's nothing bad about
it. But it's about balance, It's like Jordan Peterson. He explained it like, if you see the black part as chaos and the other one as not chaos, you always have a little bit of both. If you're standing in chaos, you can just dip your foot in the calm and that you know you have a base, right? And it's the same with all things. I mean, I also do yoga, and some people are really into yin yoga, where you just stretch your body so that all of your muscles and ligaments are just getting really long. But my take on it is like, why be flexible if you're not strong? You have to be both. And also on the other hand, why be strong if you're not flexible? You know,
Exactly.
you really should aim
like
for
bodybuilding,
50-50.
you know.
Yeah.
I love this sport. I mean, it's really interesting sport in so many ways, but they are just looking big, you know.
Yeah.
Most of them are
It's not very functional.
not at all. Not at all. But I had once in my lifetime opportunity to meet Jay Cutler
Oh, really?
in like really.
Oh, nice.
Fuck man, he looks really.
Yeah, he's yeah. They
It's,
have
it's
unreal
amazing what
physiques,
these
yeah.
guys are doing
Yeah.
today. And of course there will be, you know, but like always I could say, oh, you are so good in podcasting because you have a studio. Same like we
Yeah.
are saying for, let's say, Jay Cutler, say, he's so good, he's a farmer, you know, and this and that.
Yeah.
But I will give you studio, be that good. I will give you medicaments and be that good.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
steroids,
You have
whatever.
to do the work. Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing is just coming on its own.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Yeah, and I keep bringing it back to this balance thing, because you know, balance is everything in life. I mean, if you take something as simple as your work life and your family life, if you don't have a balance, if you work all the time, then your family is going to suffer. If you only have family time, your work's going to suffer. You're not going to make any money. So you know, you have to balance
But you know,
everything.
work, at least for me, I don't know. Work is not just money. I mean, if you can find a work you are happy with,
Yeah.
it can be so much more. And I actually, before doing that, I thought I have a work, why I should have a hobby. Because, you know, it felt like a hobby also for me. But it's not the same.
No.
Can come, in my opinion, can come close, like really close, but it will be never the same. And I hope this podcast, precisely this podcast, I mean, we can build some businesses around that. I don't mind. But this podcast should stay just like a hobby, you know.
Yeah.
I will try to remember to myself every time, like, it's my podcast. I will talk wherever I want, what with I want, and so on. You know, I would try to not be it like, oh, I should talk to him or her because it will be good for this or that.
Yeah.
Even if you are kind of not so much interested in that, fuck off. Like, really. Well, how do you have this? I mean, you had so many guests, right?
Yeah, I mean, I only talk to people that I want to talk to, that I find interesting. I don't.
So like kind of same criteria.
Yeah, I mean, I don't go after people because I think, like, if I talk to him, I'm gonna gain something from it, you know, financially or stuff like that. I mean, it's also, I mean, I'm a very honest guy. I have a hard time like lying to people. I have a hard time pretending that I like people. So I wouldn't be able to sit across from someone and being fake. You know what I mean?
Good. Everyone can.
I can if I want to, but I don't want to,
right.
because I'm just not that kind of person. It wouldn't feel right, and if it doesn't feel right, I won't do it.
And how it feels, I mean, I have it the same. I'm trying to talk myself out in these podcasts, and you can be sure every sentence I'm saying, I mean it. I mean, I don't have a problem with people if they will say, oh, I don't like this, because you will never find even one who likes you in every way. Right?
No, definitely not.
So what I'm risking? Nothing. I just can be myself. And that's the beauty, because, you know, in business, in everyday life, in family even, you cannot be totally yourself.
No, but exactly, and it's also like people will sense if you're pretending. People will know. I mean, you can do it for some time, but you know, it's hard to pretend all the time. It's mentally draining, I think. And that's also why, like, all these influencers and stuff like that. I mean, I don't get how they can.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, but I don't get how they can do this, because, like, for me, I talk a lot about yoga because yoga has helped me a lot with my back pain and also finding some calm and meditating and stuff like that. But I'm not sitting here pretending that I do yoga 1 hour every day when I wake up, because I don't. I mean, I'm also a human. There are days that I just don't want to, or I'm feeling a little bit lazy,
and that's fine.
Exactly. But a lot of people like they're like, oh, I'm teaching yoga, so I have to be this yoga guy that's just I'm doing yoga all the time.
And
it's like 10
also
hours a day, you know?
and be dressed like yogi.
Exactly. I mean, I like metal also, and that's Lemmy is my one of my big heroes. You know what I mean?
I don't even know.
No, it's the singer from Motorhead.
Says me nothing.
Funny. Yeah, they're really good. He's dead actually. I will
take your word for that.
He's the biggest rock and roller of all time. Like he's just the coolest motherfucker ever. He was a roadie for Jimi Hendrix when he was young. No?
I'm very bad with stars, and I told you I don't.
All right, all right. But he's not in the context of the global music scene. He's not like a Beyonce star. He's in the.
Yeah, you see Beyonce, I know.
Yeah, exactly. But he's like in the rock and roll and metal scene. You know, Lemmy is the shit. But outside of that, he's not. I don't know. I thought everyone knew who he was, but
kind of niche famous.
Yeah, kind of. But still, I mean, they released like 30 something records. Before he died, like he was like 73 or something.
Okay.
I kind of lost my point. The point was like, I don't really remember.
Getting tired.
Shit happens. No, it was the thing about balance. I mean, I do yoga and I listen to death metal.
Yeah,
people
about this, pretending people and so on. I totally with you here, like all these influencers, like empty influencers.
Yeah.
Like fuck, man, that should be so hard to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, I will give you a product now, and you need to consume it. You need to say it's good, even though you don't like it.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, exactly.
To pretend doing yoga if you are not doing yoga.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly.
What can be worse? I mean.
Yeah. And it's people, also people, I don't know. I don't like pretending, and I don't like people that pretend, because like I want the real version of people.
But what do you think, if you would guess, how many people today in Danish society or European, let's take it a little bit broader, are like real people, and how big is the part people, fake people, pretending people?
It's a complicated question, because like the first thing that pops into my mind is I go to work, I meet a colleague, I ask, hey, how's it going? And they say, oh, it's going fine, everything's good. How about you? Yeah, everything's good. All right, cool, catch you later.
Yeah.
Maybe that colleague is depressed or is really stressed, or that's pretending also, but it's
to some level you need to have this pretending,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
if I would go and have a conversation with every colleague, with every
Exactly.
human being I'm meeting, like with you now,
yeah.
I
mean,
would,
exactly.
I would
it's-
not go.
And that's why I say it's a complicated question, because like that everyone's pretending. I'm also pretending when I go to work. When I meet some, I'm helping some people that you don't like everyone you meet. Some people you just don't have the vibe with. You know what I mean? And I come into someone and I have to be professional. I have to put the professional face on, and I have to be polite, and I have to pretend that I actually want to be there.
To some extent, yes.
Yeah, yes, of course, but you get the idea. It's like I can't just come in and say, I don't like this guy, so I'm just gonna do a shitty job or
No,
be
but
mean.
look, at least from my examples in my work, I have some customers where we really have good on a business level, and I have some customers where we are also very good on personal level. And the second one I like so much more, but it's it depends if you want to do just a job, or you do the job and something on top. Same like you said, if you came, one guy is like, he's kind of not nice to you or whatever, you just think, okay, you are old, I just do my job, what I need to do professionally, and I will of course smile to you, whatever, but that's it. And maybe another one will be so much more interested in some human contact with you, so we can have few words and here. I think more or less every job, every situation is kind of like that.
Yeah, exactly. So you kind of have these different hats you put on. You know what I mean? Dependent on the situation. Because like if you are, for example, are tired and you're just kind of having a bad day and you come to a business meeting, you kind of have to put the poker face on because you can't just come in.
Sometimes you need to. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
of
That's what I
course.
mean. So that's in a way also.
I mean, it is a job, right? You have a meeting, you have things to do, and they don't. Basically, they don't care if you have hangover or if you slept bad
Exactly.
or you are thirsty. Thirsty, okay, they will give you water, but
Uh,
you know what I mean.
yeah.
Sometimes you just need to do your job.
Exactly. And then on the other hand, there are these like people that are just kind of pretending they're someone they're not. That's the
That's
kind of
where I have a problem.
yeah. That's my big issue. If someone's pretending to be my friend, pretending to be nice, and then the moment I leave, they're talking bad about me to everyone else or something like that stuff.
Yeah,
Or
that's bad.
they're trying to set me up for a failure or something. I mean, there are not that I've experienced that a lot, but there are people like that out there, and these people are fake. Or like the people on Instagram that are just pretending to be doing some social work and I'm helping people, but they're not doing anything. They're just going places, taking pictures like they're doing something, and then getting social media points.
And that's bad.
That annoys the shit out of me, man.
It's not just bad. I mean, look, if you pretend you're doing something good and you are influencer, maybe it will influence someone to do real good job.
Yeah.
So maybe your pretending is not so bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it depends
It's hard, man. Life's complicated.
a lot. It's not. It's never one point, right? I mean, you can look at things from so many different angles, and
Yeah.
sometimes I feel like I'm a little bit crazy, and it helps me to talk to like-minded people.
Wow.
They are just a reminder that I'm not so crazy.
Everyone's crazy, man. Like I read this quote once, like someone wrote like something like, it's like when I was younger, I just thought grown-ups had it all together and they knew what they were doing. And now that I'm a grown-up, I can just see that everyone's just guessing and trying to keep it together, kind of thing. It's like it's a in Danish you have this saying that like you have to overdo it so that people get your point. So I mean, of course, not everyone's.
In Danish?
Yeah, it's like overdrivelse fremmer forståelsen.
No.
Yeah. So but I mean, most people I think are just people. You know what I mean? Not. I don't think anyone.
We are lying. We are faking. We are. I mean, this white lie.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, sometimes you need to lie.
In
for a better.
Yeah, if you don't want to hurt someone's feelings or
sometimes you need to fake it till you make it.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like when we did first episodes. Now I feel kind of more comfortable just to sit, talk, and forget about all these cameras and lights. But in the first episodes, I was kind of nervous, and when we did,
how do I sit? And you're very aware of your posture
and how I will look, and this and you are kind of anxious. But we did kind of 0 episode with let's call Arius camera guy, and we had some alcohol to loosen it, just to see what it's about. And in few first episodes, I was kind of okay. Now I will really try to fake it.
Yeah.
And it helps, like you think, okay, what would Jesus do, What would podcaster do? He would, I'm talking and thinking, he would just sit and talk. Okay, I can do that. It's not so hard. I will fake it. I will kind of try to pretend I don't care about all these lamps and this and that.
Yeah. Yeah, but
so faking is not what I was trying to say. Faking is not just bad. I mean, sometimes you need to.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. And it's again, it's about balance. I mean, it's like just be honest in your relationships with people and don't, I guess there's a time and a place for everything. But as long as you don't, compromise your own core values. When you're talking to people. I mean, I'm always me, even though if I'm at work and I'm talking to someone I don't like or doing something I don't want to be doing, I put the professional hat on and I just kind of, get over with it. But I'm still me, I'm not gonna treat someone badly because they're an asshole, unless it's really, of course, if it's really bad, I'm just gonna tell them to fuck off and leave. But I mean,
I think it's also important to sometimes to say people fuck off and leave.
I do that all the time, man. I don't like I was trying to.
But when I say it, I also mean it. I mean, if you don't like, we can just not do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think maybe sometimes we are thinking I'm bluffing. I'm really not. It's just like this podcast, if we would come to the point where you would say kind of, nah, I don't want to talk about this, about that, and I can see you don't kind of want to do that, I would say just don't do it,
Yeah.
What's the problem?
Yeah, that's also the thing that people need to practice more. Like, even though we don't agree, we don't have to fight over it or be enemies or something. You can just say like, okay, this is your point. Okay, I don't agree.
Yeah.
We just agree to disagree.
And I love
move on.
I love to not to agree to people. I mean, sometimes I can say something I'm not fully believe myself, just to get better quality of the discussion we have. I mean, and sometimes people maybe they think that I'm thinking that way, but it's not necessary. I just say, just ask, and what if, and what about that?
You have to be able to explore ideas.
Yeah. And maybe I even don't like the idea. Oh, sorry, I'm saying, but maybe it gives you a different angle to see that, a different point to see.
Yeah.
So
because
of course we don't need to agree on everything. Like you said, you like metal music, and I think it's bullshit, and and it has nothing to do with the thing we are doing right now, right?
Oh,
I mean,
I also don't. Someone might take it personally. I mean, I don't care if you like metal or not. I just know that I like it.
I mean, look,
and that's the important thing for me. It's not important for me that other people also like it. You know what I mean?
We just were talking with Arius on the way here. Same.
Yeah.
Like, look, if you would, you are, how old you are?
35.
35. Look, if you would now talk just to people from 30 to 40, just with people who likes metal, just with people who are doing yoga, just with, you would box yourself into one guy to talk. It's yourself.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, I like to talk to people who are not agreeing, who has a different music style, whatever. Because, the music you like is probably also giving you the way to view the world. And it's also okay that makes you, right? So, again, I think that every culture or every profession or music or art or whatever age group helps you to bring something different on the table. To have more interesting discussions.
Definitely. And I mean, that's also one of the things like I'm doing with the podcast. I mean, I'm inviting people on sometimes that I don't really know anything about their expertise. I have had this guy who's done a lot of like role play. He's been like one of the biggest role play guys in Denmark, live action role playing, and then he switched into this kind of leadership training stuff for business people. And I don't know anything about role playing. I've never tried it, and I mean I've been a leader, like kind of like a what's it called in English, like the guy on I've not been the CEO or anything like that, but I've been the guy who's like managing
managerial level.
Exactly, a kind of manager thing. I never liked it. I don't want to be the boss, so I don't do that anymore. But other than that, I don't know anything about he's doing like business coaching with CEOs and high profile people. I didn't know anything about it. And I really wanted to hear something about it. So I was just kind of, I invited him on, and then we were having a conversation about something that I like role playing. It doesn't appeal to me. I don't think I would enjoy it, but I kind of was I was very curious, like
Mm.
what is this and why do you do this and stuff like that, So expanding your point of view is very important, just to be able to try and to understand the
Yeah,
world a
but
little bit better.
As I said, that I had some bullet points over my interests, keywords, what I would like to talk in my podcast, and I also have some groups on Facebook list where I could find someone to talk and so on. But like today, we met just because I was interested in you as a podcaster, right? I mean, it's like really narrow. But when we talk, we can find something else we both interested in, like Wim Hof or Jordan Peterson. We just can find some more stuff which relates us somehow. And maybe, just maybe, after the podcast, you will put your most favorite, most famous metal song, and I will say, I can maybe like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. Yeah, for sure.
And that's probably where we stop.
Yeah, it's a very good ending, isn't it?
Yeah, I just felt like it's
Yeah,
really
it's
good.
just like, that's famous last words.
So I hope it is first but not the last time.
Definitely.
And,
I mean,
we will try someday to get something out of it more.
for sure. I mean, my door's always open when I'm home.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure. And if someone out there is speaking Danish, ThorCast, it's on Spotify and all that.
Yeah, find
Yeah.
Thor, like
Yeah, THOR, like
Yeah.
Thor, the thunder god. That's my
Easy.
name, by the way. I'm not just pretending to be some.
and if you will hear me on his podcast, so BormCast.
Yeah,
Very easy.
Yeah,
right?
on YouTube.
BORM.
yeah,
YouTube.
yeah.
At the beginning, yes.
Nice, cool.
Cool. Have a nice day.
You too.
Or
Thank
night
you.
or whatever.
Open this gate.